Hi, welcome to Oxford Business Tutor, and this is George Vlachonicholas. Today I want to talk about aims and objectives. So aims are like the big long-running strategic goal for the business, okay? And there's 4 or 5 key ones that crop up from time and again in business studies. The first one obviously is profit maximizing, then there's probably sales maximizing or market share increasing, growth, expansion, or maybe it's something like some sort of social agenda or quality improvement. So these are our long-standing strategic goals for the business. That's our aims. The objectives then. Well, you should think about the objectives being slightly smaller than the aims. The whole idea of the objectives is that they fall out of the aim. So once you know your aim, once you know that you're profit maximizing, then you can work out how it's going to be that you are going to maximize your profit. So you'll set yourself smaller targets on the way. Those are your objectives. So if you think about it, the objectives are the kind of path, the stepping stones towards that main aim. So what is when you come to study objectives, people make a big deal about objectives being SMART. They need to be specific, measurable, accurate, achievable, realistic, and time-based. Now for me, I only really think 2 of them are critical, okay? I think 2 of them are the key. Okay, one is specific, okay? I think absolutely, and I make a big deal of this all the time, I think these things need to be written succinctly, clearly, as crystal clear as you can possibly imagine, so that everybody looking at this objective knows exactly what the objective is and what they have to do as an employee in order to understand how they're going to be judged and their performances. Yeah, as an employee, if you're told exactly what it is you got to do, you can't have any complaints when the manager comes back and asks you, have you done it? Yes or no, okay? Objectives to me should be a yes or no, have you done it thing, yeah? So I have a little bit of a problem with the measurable thing, because that kind of sounds like you can measure it as in a 1 to 10 scale. Did you achieve it? Well, I kind of achieved it. I got a 5 out of 10. That to me doesn't sound like an achieved objective, okay? For me, objectives need to be you either achieved it or you didn't, okay? And that's why it has to be specific, because you've got to be exactly sure what it is that you're talking about. The next one is the last one, the time-based one, okay? You've got to have a time frame on these things. Again, as an employee, if I'm given a mission, I need to know when it is that this needs to be finished by. Otherwise, I'm going to be pretty annoyed if my manager comes around tomorrow and says, why didn't you done it? Well, I didn't know that you wanted it for tomorrow. You never told me, okay? We've all got to be clear about when it is that objective needs to be finished. And I think if you can nail those 2, if you can get it specific and you can get it time-based, then actually everything else kind of falls out from that. Because if you're thinking about the time, if you're thinking about the time frame from your objective, then you're thinking about whether it's achievable or not, or realistic, okay? Because that kind of falls out of your discussion about the time. You know, I can imagine if I'm talking to my manager and we're thinking about a particular objective that we need to reach, is kind of he might say, well, I need that by tomorrow. Well, I can't give it to you by tomorrow. That's not achievable. So how about by, I don't know, by after the weekend? Yeah, you can see a kind of similar negotiation going on sometimes with teachers and students. Okay, the teacher says, I want that homework in for tomorrow. And the student goes, hey, buddy, look, I've got a whole load of other essays from my other subjects to do for tomorrow. So you ain't going to get your business studies homework. How about I give it to you at the end of the weekend? Teacher thinks about it for a while. Yeah, okay, fine, by the end of the weekend. So therefore, I think if you get the time bit right, you probably get the M, the A, and the R bit right as well. So S and T for me, yeah, objectives need to be the S and T, and if they're S and T, then they're also S-M-A-R-T. They're smart. So, objectives and aims. The relationship there is that objectives are the path to get an aim. And the critical thing to get right then is, do they complement each other? Do they really complement each other, or is there a disconnect? Now, what do I mean by that? It's all right setting objectives to try and get to an aim, but if you don't set the right objectives, then you ain't going to achieve the right aim at the end of it. Let me give you an example. If your long-standing aim is that you want to increase the number of products, new products that you put onto the market, but one of your objectives is to cut the research and development costs in your business, then guess what? If you cut your research and development budget, then you're not going to get new products at the end of it, okay? So there's a massive disconnect, you see, between the objective and the aim. think about it again from a student point of view. Yeah, your aim at the end of the year is to get the best possible grade you can. Okay, but if one of your objectives is also to increase your social life at the same time, and you have to go out and get drunk and meet, I don't know, somebody of the opposite sex or even the same sex on a night out, then that's not a pillar on which you're going to achieve your long-standing aim in your life. Okay, now people aren't saying don't go out, but what they are saying is your objectives need to complement. So the objective is, whatever I do during the weekend, I've also got to make sure that my homework gets done and my homework gets in time, because I know that if I do my homework every single weekend to the best of my ability, then I've got a much greater likelihood of reaching my aim at the end of the 2 years. Then finally, the last thing I would say about objectives and aims is that they need to be communicated. Again, this is something I bang on about all the time. It's all right for managers to write these things, these objectives and these aims, but if they then don't tell you about them, then how on earth are they ever going to be reached? Yeah. So for example, if our main aim is growth and expansion, you better tell the human resources department about that and set them some objectives, because presumably they're the ones that are going to be hiring the extra staff that's going to be needed to reach the growth. But if you haven't told them and they don't know what the aim and the objective is, then when you're going to have this expansion and this growth, you're going to have a huge demand for employees, and there's your human resources department going, well, we didn't know about it, so we haven't put any adverts out and we haven't hired anybody. It's not their fault. Nobody communicated to them. Okay, that's a bad managerial decision. That person hasn't communicated it to the department, okay, and therefore they haven't achieved the objective and the business can't achieve its aim. So objectives and aims, really closely related. Objectives have got to complement the aim, and if you achieve your objectives, you should achieve your long-standing aim. I hope that's all right. Good luck.